Greetings, friends. Your cartoonist pal Stan here, having a really weird Wednesday. But I'm here for a new episode of 50 Years in the Dungeon, the work in progress edition. I'm back working on another cartoon another cartoon homage that I started in a previous episode. In fact, I was working on it last week. I'm going to work on it again this week. It is the cover from Dragon Magazine number 86 that I began way back when I was interviewing Bart Carroll in episode 66 of this particular program. Having fun. I really like that drawing, and I really like that cover, and I really like the drawing that I'm working on. I didn't have any time after last week to work on doing the coloring, so that's what I'm gonna be working on today. Make way for Weird Wednesdays, says Michael. Yeah, I could use a fewer Weird Wednesdays like this. I'm sure we'll be talking about it a bit because that's all that's on my mind. Um, but someone's going to help me through this. I've got a friend who's going to join me tonight. He's going to hold my hand metaphorically because he can't do it literally while I'm drawing and get me through this. My pal and yours, Jeff Zippy Quick. Jeff.
Your cartoonist pal's pal, Jeff Zippy Quick.
It's right. Your cartoonist pal's pal. Pal of the pal. Pal o' mine. Oh, pal o' mine. How you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty well. I'm doing okay. I'm looking at fonts tonight.
Oh,
Do you ever look at fonts? Does anyone ever look at
yeah.
fonts?
Yeah, I was just looking at fonts the other day. Looking at fonts. You know, it's on the one hand, I like just looking at fonts. On the other hand, it's really frustrating when I have to figure out a font.
Yeah,
It's not just
right.
doing it for fun.
Yeah. And let's face it, I'm never looking, like, even though it is fun looking at fonts, I'm not ever looking except when I need one.
Oh, I
And
do. Sometimes I'm just looking at fonts just for the fun of
not very often. Not like as a younger man, I engaged in that pastime, but
it. That's a younger man's sport.
font browsing. What am I, 25?
So, what kind of fonts are you looking at? Are you looking at?
Well, what I'm looking for is something that's sort of science fiction-y, but also is kind of like fun and playful and a little weird and maybe kind of chunky, like something sort of like the Guardians of the Galaxy logo font, um, but different than that.
And it's for a personal project?
Yes, yes. In fact, not strangely enough, the same project that I was talking about the last time I was here, the Everybody Rolls game.
Right, right.
Um, like one thing, so I need to point out, extraordinarily amateur at layout, but I like doing it anyway. And so whenever I'm working on a writing project, um, I will often, or for my own purposes, right? I mean, if I'm doing it for money, then you get a Word document. Uh, but for me, whenever I'm working on something, sometimes I like to, I don't know. I don't know if this is like a way that I um, stall or or what, but but I've sort of reached a point that I'm tired of writing, and so I will take it into a layout program, and I will be like, okay, this is the page size that I think it's going to go on, and this is how I think I'm going to lay it out. And what would be swell is if I had like my display fonts and picked my body font, and so I dork around with that, and I'm at that sort of dorking around phase now.
Yeah.
Uh, in that I've written, like, I'm not done, but I'm like I'm I'm done enough. I'm really to the point where I sort of need someone else to come in and tell me what I haven't done, right? Because I know I'm not done, but there's just sort of a bunch of like fine points that I'm like,
Yeah.
uh-oh, I'm not. I guess, in the parlance they might call that an editor, but it's not quite it's not quite editing because I realize that the manuscript isn't done. I'm just like, I'm bogged down in my own weeds, and so I don't know where to go from here, and all the ways that I do know to go are boring, and I'm not doing them. And so some sort of
Oh boy, what?
project manage some sort of project manager or editor or somebody who will go, okay, Jeff, I've looked at your project, and these are the holes that remain. These are the things that need further consideration and plugging up, um, and I don't have that person. So instead, I look at fonts and try to lay it out.
Okay. Do you have favorite places to go look at fonts?
Well, whenever I am so another thing that I do is I usually make a website for every like campaign that I run, like on
Hmm.
and uh, so that my players have one central place where they can ignore information about the campaign.
That's very convenient.
Yeah, it is. I can say I wrote it all down here, so whenever you're wondering, don't hurry to read this. Um, and so normally what I will do is I will go to Google Fonts because they're reliably good, and Google has made them to display well on the web, and they're free.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
and so that's what I had been using for this project, a couple of different Google fonts, but I don't know, somewhere along the line I was like, no, I don't need XO2. I need something cooler. And now I'm looking at cooler things. And yet none of them are just right.
Hmm. Have you gone to Blambot?
No, I haven't gone to
Do you
Blambot.
know Blambot?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course. I mean, we all know Blambot.
I mean,
Yeah.
what kind of questions?
Maybe Blambot's what I need. Like they have, Google has like a version of standard Blambot, but maybe Blambot's good. But Blambot, like it's a font house, and so they actually charge money.
Doom. You're not looking.
I'm not. No, I'm looking at Blambot. Wait, let me come back. Oh, whoa! Did you order those off of Blambot?
Well, I got them from Blambot. I when I backed a book that Nate wrote about lettering.
Hmm.
They were
Oh
at
yeah, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, cool.
but the nice thing, I don't know if you know, the nice thing about Blambot is they have a bunch of stuff which is free for indie creators.
Hmm.
So a bunch of their fonts, and not their best ones, not their coolest newest ones, but but they're really good ones, and I've filled up on them over the years, just kind of downloading. That a lot of them feel
Yeah.
very horror oriented,
Hmm.
which doesn't really
I'm
fit
looking at them
your
again.
stuff, I
Yeah.
think. But they do have a bunch that are free for indie creators, so you may find interesting stuff there. Have a look. This is maybe a completely unpaid plug for Blambot.
I'm sharing my screen, but I don't know that anybody can actually see it. Maybe I'm just sharing it with you.
Let's see. Let's see. I have a way for you to do that, and
Sweet.
that's here maybe. Oh, I
Let's
have to
find out.
assign this a thing. Hold on. This is now guest two. There we go.
Aha! All right. So, like, I found, like anti-grav, maybe that would be cool.
Mhm.
Um, or black hole. But I
Well,
see, I see how free these all are. That might well be what I wind up doing is finding
mhm.
one of these.
Yeah,
These
they've got
certainly are things that I've seen in comics a lot.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, Nate is a comics letterer, so
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. There's a lot of really cool stuff there. and a lot of it from $0.
Yeah. Yeah. I tried, and I don't know that I would recommend anybody else do this, but I tried to talk to AI and be like, okay, AI, recommend me some fonts.
Mhm.
And AI was not very good. It was
No,
basically AI.
doesn't sound like the kind of thing that AI would be good at.
AI said maybe you'd like to look at Google fonts a lot. And I was like, those are the easy ones for you to find, so those are the ones you send to me, sure.
You've seen me looking at those.
um, but yeah, oh, there's firepower. That looks good. I should try. That might be what I want.
There you
All
go.
right. Okay. Thank you, Stan. I'm
All right, take you from
gonna
there.
open that, and I needed another couple dozen tabs open. This is the way to make it happen.
This is the way.
All right. I'm gonna stop sharing now. Get gone,
That's all right. I've
sharing.
taken it off. Taken it off screen. But there you
Back.
go. All right. Woo. All right. But the other. So before I get drawing, you
Hmm.
had an unboxing you were going to do, and I have something that I unboxed without doing a video of it that I want to show you. Which do you want to do first, Jeff?
Oh man. Uh, yours intrigues me more, but then again, I know what mine is. So um,
Yeah, but yours is an actual unboxing.
it is. It is. It's true.
Why don't you unbox for
All
us?
right. All right. Okay. All right. Be- Behold
What if I go
the
here? What if I
box.
do? There we go. Now you get. Ooh, it's a
Let's see.
box.
Who's it from? Who is it from? It is from Bob Spearkoff
Bob
at
Smearkoff from
Botch.
Botch Incorporated in
Yeah, I've
Milwaukee
already cut it open. I've cut it open already, but I haven't opened.
for ease of unboxing.
That's right. That's right. So that's. I've never actually done an unboxing. It and
It's
they always look kind of
exciting.
silly to me. Yeah, but let's look inside.
Ooh,
What
look,
could
there's
be?
stuff in there.
Oh my goodness.
There's a paper.
There's stuff. That's right.
There's
Here's a
paper
piece of paper. Hmm.
that
It
says
has my
Botch.
name and address, which I won't be showing on the camera.
That is wise.
And
And what's in
and what
there? What is? Oh, it says Botch. Oh,
it
dice.
says botch. It's dice.
Oh,
So this was from uh, a Kickstarter.
yeah.
Botch Dice is a brand new dice manufacturer here in the good old US of A in
In
Milwaukee,
Milwaukee,
and
apparently.
yeah, and their deal, their trick, their thing is that they have figured out they have a proprietary way to screen print onto dice in a way that won't rub off
Oh.
quickly or easily. And so they can do really fancy things. These aren't engraved or painted in any way, but um,
All right, so it's not just like an onlay that's going to scrape off, like so often happens.
right, right. Well, theoretically, I mean, let me roll these a few thousand times and I'll let you
Right,
know.
right.
But um, but yeah, no, it's really intricate. This is the and I'm not even sure that it's really picking up. Okay,
Well, I
narrow
can
in.
see that, but the closer you get to the screen, the blurrier it gets.
Yeah, I was hoping that my camera might be smart enough to refocus, but it doesn't look like it. So
Maybe if you hold it
on
in
this,
front of your face, and so you occlude your face as you come forward. Oh yeah. Oh no, do that again.
um,
What are you wearing?
so this is the Humblewood set. Uh,
Okay,
it is. So that was the six. Here's the four. It's a nice little barrel, right? Not the
nice.
caltrip shape.
Yeah.
Um, and then your standard eight. So one interesting little thing that they've done is on each die, although they have sort of like this piece of art that you'll just have to believe me is intricate.
Right.
On the lowest number, they usually have, and this is like a pair of cat eyes looking at you out of the dark. They'll on the lowest die, they'll usually like take all the color out, or they'll put out something like dangerous on the low number, and then the high number will be like red or special. So it's a nice little
Okay.
touch to kind of differentiate the low and high. So here's the 12. No surprises here.
Yeah.
It's your standard cube of pentagons. Um, couple of tens. Let me just throw one in my
Yeah.
drink. The other one looks like this.
Don't drink it later. Don't swallow it.
Uh,
Glug, glug.
and then and then
I got
and
it
then the
six.
20.
I can
So and
feel it.
another differentiator, not an enormous deal, but it's kind of nice, is that they're just bigger and chunkier, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this is sort of your standard. I don't even know what it is, like 12 millimeter. I don't even know, but this is sort of a standard
Yeah.
D20, and this is the size that all
Nice.
botch dice are. Um, and so they're a little they're some nice mouthfeel there and some uh, not really mouthfeel. I
I
said that.
get it. I get it. Don't swallow your dice.
Yeah, no, please, children, not at home. Um, and they're good dice. I talked to Bob. Let me get the other set. I talked to Bob personally because I'm working on a project for Cobalt that
Yeah.
involves dice, and I talked to Bob. Little spoiler there. I talked to Bob earlier this year, and he was kind enough to just send me a different set. This is what I got from backing the Kickstarter, but he just sent me a set, the science fiction set, which also looks pretty snazzy and maybe will show up better.
Ooh.
Um, so there's the 4, and so the 1 again, like the 1 is like space. You suck. You rolled a 1,
Base.
but the
Yeah.
other things are like spacier, and so on this one, like the 6 has a little like boom, explosion,
Hmm.
and the 1 is the darkness of
This
space, and then the other faces have.
nice.
So I like these dice. I recommend them. They're a little pricey. Uh, I am famously a cheapskate, um,
You are.
and so
You are.
yeah, uh, and so keep that in mind because that would be a consideration for me if I were just going out to buy dice. Uh, but I like Bob. I wanted to support Bob. I think he's got a good product.
Okay.
Um,
So again, this is
and
not a paid endorsement. This is a personal,
this is not this
unpaid
is not in
endorsement.
any way.
Yeah.
This is my Kickstarter arrived today, and I was like, hey, why don't I show this off to some fellow nerds?
This is from the
Um,
Humblewood, so that's the Pooh inspired one.
yeah, yeah, I never thought of it as poo, but yeah, I mean, it's just sort of you know gentle fantasy, but still with swords and magic and crap. I mean, it's not that gentle, I
All right.
think.
Well, then there's
Um,
one. There's one that's kick. Maybe this. I think maybe this is currently kickstarting, which with a similar sounding name, which is definitely Winnie the Pooh
hmm.
because it's now in public domain and it's set
Right.
in the Hundred
Yes.
Acre Wood, but it's reinterpretations of Pooh and Piglet, and it's very fantasy
This is
adventure.
definitely not that, although that sounds intriguing.
Yeah.
Michael, by the way, is over here asking for a custom pair of D14s. A D14 and a D8. Michael, what is it that you need a D14 and a D8 for? Let's wait patiently while he
One. Yeah.
responds.
Let's wait the 2 minutes for the lag and the typing.
No, let's keep
While you're talking
talking.
about that, I am going to show you what I have.
Yes, yes, let's do
Which
your
is I'm
unboxing
going to
now.
come back to this view. Anthropomorphic Dungeoneers equals Humblewood. All right, yeah, fair enough. All right, what I got from the fine folks in your Cobalt mine
Hey, what's up, Allender? Yes, yes, yes.
is a copy of
The Art of Cobalt Press.
a
Yeah,
Cobalt
yeah.
Press book that's just come out. And I'm lucky enough. I got that. I got this because uh, uh,
Oh, I see. Okay.
you know I'm in it a little, but there's so many people. Not all artists, not all people who are in here got copies. Too many people, too expensive a book. But
I see what you're saying,
I put
Michael.
the squeeze on Wolfgang. Really, is what I did.
Uh huh. Yeah, yeah.
And I got this, which is really awesome. It covers the entire history of Kobold, starting with the what was it called? It was just
Open design
open
back in the
design. Yeah, from
day.
open design to current days, and it's got just pages and pages of really beautiful art.
Yeah, yeah, baby. I was one of the people who proofed that, and it was really nice to look through. It is lovely. And in fact, I contributed like a 2 paragraphs, right? Like not too much in there,
Look
but
at all this! Look at all this great art.
yeah.
And including as we get towards the back, there's this interesting 3-page segment, which is all Stan. Find that. Oh, we've got a big spread on
Oh, Riverbank.
Riverbank.
Yeah. Your work is now being featured in the coloring contest for Riverbank
Yes, yes,
currently.
I've been mentioning that on previous. So yes, we've got a necromancer page here,
Mm-hmm. 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 Raise the Dead, Ask Me How. I love that one.
and then another couple of pages of necromancer.
Yep. Yep.
We got
Dead
the
Man Switch.
switch, Dead Man Switch, and the poster. We
Uh-huh.
were gonna. This was originally going to be released as a promotional poster back when there was a budget, back back before tariffs. So now it's just
Oh
extra
man.
art that didn't get used, but it shows up here. That was my original when they asked me for a cover and they kind of described what they wanted. That was what I came back with, and they kept the cover process was really a matter of I gave them. They asked for something complicated, and they just uncomplicating it. Oh, like strip this away, strip that away.
Yep.
I gave them that, and they're like, "Yeah, oh, well, it's just too busy. How about let's just go with the little uh, little goblin guy." And so I gave him
I
the
think
goblin guy standing with the mountains and lightning flashing in the background. I'm like, okay, how do we take out the mountains? How about we take out the lightning? And the glow, just the goblin guy.
I feel like that was a good choice too.
Yeah,
I feel like that was a smart choice. I had a copy of Necromancer. I would flash it right now so people could see what the final version looked like. It seems to have taken a walk.
I'm gonna dig mine out here so we can. Yeah. So in the
Michael
end,
says he has Michael says he has 2 practice rounds on his Riverbank coloring page. He's he's really dedicated to this. Yes, yes. See, I feel like that, and that's a good cover. I
yeah,
feel
no,
like.
it works great. It works great. But I just want to say, originally that other drawing was the first thing they asked for, and
Yeah, yeah.
then
And
there
this
was
is where
this
we wound
guy
up.
with
Yeah.
mountains and a lightning and boo boo boo, and in the end, I think this is a great cover. I think it works. It works really well. But it's funny to think of the versions like, okay, well, this.
Yeah. That little skull in the O on Necromancer.
Oh yeah,
I don't even. Where did Mark get that? Because that was your work, but Mark had just
that
appropriated it
was
from
from
something else.
another drawing that I think didn't get used.
Oh,
Or
okay,
maybe I
okay.
think this is from the poster version. I think this is what his staff looked like on the poster version.
Because that skull wound up getting used uh, in several places. It got used on the one Victory Point skeleton, for instance. Like once we had that, we were like, well, let's be sure to slap that on a lot of
Yeah,
things.
he's that's a that's a skull and a half there, right there, my friend. Let me see if I open that up. No, that's not it. It must be from something else. You know where I might look to find out?
Do
My
tell.
iPad that's plugged in right now for us to look at while I'm drawing.
Hmm.
So if I come over here like this and
Yum, 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 yum.
scroll down here to the where is it?
I'm looking at my game
Necromancer
shelves, wondering
file.
if I put Necromancer on there and then lost it. One thing that I frequently notice about people who do gaming stuff online is that uniformly, like
Yeah. So here,
almost to a person, they feel a need to like have a giant shelf full of games behind them.
yeah,
Uh, and Stan, I commend you for not being that guy, right? You boldly put your kitchen behind you.
yeah. Well,
And
I would if my desk could sit sideways in this nook I'm in.
oh yeah, you'd put a
It's
shelf full of games
right
behind
over
you.
here. Big wall full
Yeah,
of books and games and such.
yeah, yeah. I try to keep my dragon scale curtain behind me because I'm like
Yeah,
that's a good look without being, hey, here's a confusing mass of games behind my face. Um,
yeah. So here is that um guy with the full background.
oh yeah, I remember him. Yep, I remember seeing that version.
and he got simplified down. Oh, you know what? Here, this is where it came from. It's from
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's
the
Ulvin's
character,
portrait.
the
Yeah,
characters
yeah.
that that skull got picked up and used in the logo and all over the place.
Hello, Linnea.
Hey, Linnea, how are you doing?
One moment, I'm being summoned off screen.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so these are all the this is all the work I did for the Necromancer card game. Lot of drawings. I had a blast doing these. Um, yeah, where's the poster? All right, so yes, this is the poster that's in. Uh, I think is in the book. Yeah, this is the poster that we as we see it in the book, and even that
Right.
is down from the my what I originally wanted the poster to look like was this, but again they were like, we need to put the title over it, and we that lightning is going to make everything crazy, so the lightning had
Yeah, yeah,
to.
yeah. I remember looking at this and going, "Oh, that is way too many things going on." Like you know, I get the triangle, right? I'm following the Z here,
Yeah,
but I was just, oh Lord, like that's a lot. That's a whole lot.
yeah.
Um, and Mark is a good art director. He is a real artist's friend. He was like, Jeff, it is too late to have problems with this. We your window for commenting on this has ended. And I was like, yeah, but too bad. I'm saying it anyway.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do? I mean, in the end, I say I feel good because I got paid for the work. Like I don't feel I have no negative feelings about it at all, but I do have comedic feelings about it. I mean, especially when they're like, "Yeah, okay, you asked for that," and that's yeah. Oh, you gave us what we asked for,
You gave us exactly what we asked for.
right?
Now make changes. Yeah.
Now this is what we want.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or this is what
Then we
that's what
talked
we asked for. This is what we need.
then we talked to Jeff and he was like, that's good. Now change everything.
Oh yeah, yeah. All right.
All right, so you're doing a thing. Do it
I should yeah I should probably start doing some work here. So I'm working
I
on
I don't want to rush you, but get to it.
yeah. Well, you've got I can be here. I can be here till the cows come home. You've got like family and stuff.
I do. And in
Other
fact,
things.
one of them has made his way into the chat tonight. He came whenever I turned the mic off. He came by to inform me that he's Allender tonight.
Okay.
He's
Well, it's good to
That's
know.
why he can comment on the amount of delay that's actually going on because
Because
he
he
can
can
hear me
hear
in
you
another
through the
room.
room. And
Yeah.
awesome. All right. So this is the cover from Dragon Magazine number 86, as I said earlier. A classic of oh, I'm not showing anything. Yeah, you couldn't possibly know what I'm talking about. Here we
Man,
go.
I know because I've seen it. Man, loved that piece when it came out. That was so beautiful for the time.
It was. I mean, it's still beautiful now, but yeah, it was so different. Like no one.
Now,
Now it's like, yeah, everyone's done a chess. Yeah, great, a chess drawing. Okay, of course.
No, no, it's still really arresting and stark. Like
Yeah,
it's quite good. That whole series, he did like a series of three.
they did three
They were
different
all,
chess drawings.
yeah.
I was saying, I
Uh,
don't remember whether I was saying this on the show or when I was talking with Jeff Grubb and Steve Winter over lunch. That I mean, I love Denis Beauvais' art. I love his covers. And my all time favorite is the Bridge of Sorrows, which I think is Dragon 92. I'm not sure,
hmm,
but it's the
hmm,
one with the centaur and this with the like the paladin centaur and a spellcaster and a big black dragon that's shattering the bridge below with lightning coming out of his mouth. So
right, right. I think I remember that one.
God, I love that one. That's my all time favorite from Denny.
Hello, surreptitious. Welcome.
Indeed.
Linnea was talking about t-shirt material. I don't know what that's in reference to, but it's a perfect opportunity for me to point you to the Cobalt Press store, a t-shirt store, wherein we have Necromancer merch. You can. Is there a way? I don't. Can I put something in chat? Is that possible?
Not from where
No.
you're at. No.
All right. Well, it's out there, people.
But
Let's
you know what I
see.
can do if I come over here? Do I have this available here? No. If I come back to this view, I can tell people to go to the Cobalt Press blog.
Well, the blog, yeah, yes,
But
yes, there is that.
cobaltpress.com is probably the start of what you want to do.
Well, no, it's actually, oh, for the love of.
Oh,
So I
bother.
tried to do it. I tried to do a search, and it didn't it didn't get me quite where I wanted. Okay, all right, okay, all right, all right, okay, all right. I'm almost there.
Okay? Okay,
So
okay.
what I'm gonna do?
What are you going to do, Jeff?
Oh wow, is uh, I'm gonna send the URL to you, Stan, and I'll let you figure it out.
Yeah.
Basically, I'm going to make this your problem.
Okay.
Um,
It sounds like a me problem.
all right. So in our super secret guest chat now, there
Okay, I
is a
see that.
link.
I see that. You know what I can
Uh,
do? I
for
can.
those of you playing along at home, it is public.com/stores/cobalt hyphen press. Just rolls off the tongue.
Here, if you're watching on YouTube, it should be in the chat now. Everywhere else,
Sweet.
sorry.
I can see it now. It's great.
There you go.
Uh, Yeah, so we have some cool Riverbank merch up there, uh,
Nice.
and uh, and we have uh, several Necromancer You can get a hat or a shirt or all the standard merch that things come on. Um, Socks, if you'd like Halloween conga line on socks, you can get that.
Wow, I kind of want that, and I know where to get it.
Yep. Yep. Um, so anyway, that's a lot of fun, and even though I work for the company, I spend my own damn money on on uh, on buying Cobalt Press merch from our store. So I thought I would let other people have that opportunity too, to spend my money on to spend their own money. Um,
Spend someone's money.
Someone, please.
This is our phony baloney jobs here, man.
Okay, so tell me what you take away from this piece. What have you learned as an artist as you've
Well,
worked on
you know
this?
what? I was just talking with Jeff, with the other Jeff, Jeff Grubb, about this at lunch. When I
Yeah.
I looked at this a lot, and it wasn't until I was drawing it that I noticed this big skull in the background.
Right. Yeah. I know. It's my least favorite part of that piece, but partially because it's so subtle.
You don't
But
imagine
also,
saying that about a giant skull floating in the background, but
I know normally giant skulls floating in the background, awesome. Uh, but I don't know. Like it's sort of whenever I saw that, I was like, oh, well, that sort of takes away from you know dudes battling it out on a chessboard. Like I think I get what you're going for, but I just want to see dudes on a chessboard fighting.
why does
Thank you,
Jeff do that?
surreptitious. Thank you for spending my money. I've been looking for ways to let other people spend my money. That should work out. Um,
That's something that happens not infrequently in this project. That I start drawing something that it's
yeah,
a classic. I know this so well.
yeah.
I can't wait to draw it, and I start drawing it, and I go, "What the hell is that?" Um, so that's something that I definitely take away from all this is how much, even though I love these pieces, and some of them I've been enjoying for 30 plus 30, yeah, 30 40 years, and
Yeah, yeah.
yet when I'm forced to look at them closely enough to do these uh, these homages, I'm still discovering things about them.
So what is tell me about your process here because it looks to me like you're just making it all black.
Yeah, he's kind of. I'm laying down a flat color,
Okay, all right. That's what I thought. I thought there was probably some term for that I was less familiar with.
and then
Laying down a
I'll
flat,
put
as
highlights
they
on it.
say.
And one of the things is I color in a very what's I guess most commonly referred to as a cell animation style. A lot of flat colors with little bits of highlight
Hmm.
um, rather than blended colors
Hmm.
and a lot of subtle shading. Like, no, everything boils down to a flat color, which is then modified a bit somehow.
Right. Right.
Um, these guys with their green glow, which is a little weird too. It's not like I didn't notice it before, but the as I'm doing this drawing, the more I'm looking at it, going, why the hell are they glowing green?
It's the color of magic.
Yeah, so so Matt Wagner would have us
It's
believe.
more. It stands out more on the black guy than on the white guy. Um, like I like it. I can see how the perhaps what he's intending to sort of convey is that this is the space where they come from, right? Because
I I think
the space
it's
that they're standing on
yeah
is the same color that surrounds them.
that's where they're activated. They're
Um,
activated at that space, and therefore
but
they
really, I'm just
must glow
spitballing at this
green.
point. Michael, I don't think that specter is in the background of all the others because I remember seeing
Oh,
that
in fact, one
specter.
of them has a very sci-fi feeling to it.
Yeah,
One of the other chess pieces.
yeah. What I've always found interesting about this triptych, if you will, to use a fancy word, is that's a real quick way to do it. Is to just make it all black. Um,
Yeah, well, there are times when that's the thing to do.
uh, is that they're all actually pretty different. Um, like they're all done in the same sort of art style, and they all, you look at it and you go, "Yep, that's chess," but um, they're not necessarily the same fantasy. Like every one of them, like you don't go, "These all exist in the same universe." Got it. Um, and so I find that really intriguing about these pieces. Um, Although when I was younger, I remember it kind of bothering me because I wanted this to be sort of a uniform world, right? I wanted this to be, you know, whatever, chess land, I don't know. And it wasn't that. It was something else, which now that I'm older and wiser, I find intriguing. Um, yeah, David, I think, that certainly that contrast thing is a good point. Like it does provide contrast from what otherwise would be maybe a little muddy. Um, But it's nice that there also appears to be, some kind of um, story, some that you can spin out of it, right? It's not just there. I remember when I first noticed, sometime in the '90s. Speaking of postmodern '90s, Michael, whenever it sort of became a thing in graphic design and in illustration to just sort of put a random shape behind some figure that you're drawing. Uh, uh, and I mean, it worked, right? It would provide a background and it would provide something sort of interesting. But I would always look at that and go, yeah, but why that shape? It doesn't have anything to do with the scene or the character. It's just now there's a giant oval floating behind you.
Right.
Uh, And so I find it interesting here that, although that green is, doing a lot of good work as a contrast thing, it also sort of suggests that there's some kind of animating force or magic in play. Um, well done is what I'm saying. That's the short version.
Well done. When I did my Olympic fantasy
Oh
Olympic,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I also put uh, geometric shapes behind all the characters,
Mm-hmm.
but I tried to make
Mm-hmm.
them. I tried to make them fit the motion of what was going on in the scene. In fact, so I'm going to talk about that. Let me pull it up and not just
Yep. You should. How dare you talk about it and not?
right. So this is a series. It was a Fantastical Olympics. Right. So the first one was here. This guy's coming in.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
right, and then that one. So as I went along, I tried to have the geometrics in the background
Yeah.
show something about add something besides just being a strange shape or a weird floaty
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. I like what you've done there better than just sort of, I've I've put a
I like that one.
misshapen rectangle
Bam.
behind you. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, nicely done. You've advanced beyond the 1990s
All right.
admirably.
Good, considering that was 20 or 30 years later. I'm glad I learned. I'm glad I learned something.
All right, now this guy, you're going to color him in white?
I'm thinking about whether I want to use white or some kind of bluish white. I'm looking here. It's a
Oh,
it's
yeah.
hard. It's hard to do whites. White's a challenge because you don't want it to be. You don't want it to seem like, well, it's. I just made it white because it's white, but um, yeah, white's hard.
This is where the artistry comes through, right? You have to make some choices. Hmm.
I know I want those little bits of skin tone to be skin tone, so I'll start there.
Michael wisely mentions that a bluish white will match the lining of the cape. Excellent point.
But then the question is, and what I often talk about is you uh, you can change how the white looks. I'm just going to do this by just adding highlights. So I'm not going to add anything here yet. But if I come in here and I give him a, this kind of bluish gray
Right.
shading where the
Yeah.
shadows go, but on his beard I give it a gray, right? Your eye, and maybe the cloak, I give more of a. It's just a different blue, right? The cloak gets that, right? Now
Mm-hmm.
the thing
Hmm.
is
Hmm.
that for the user's eye, pretty much. I'm gonna switch to red here. You start reading these three whites as looking different.
I get you. I get what you're going at.
Mm,
Look at that.
because
You've
that
tricked my
shading
eye.
tells you something about
Yeah.
this part that's white.
You fooled me.
Science fooled you. So,
Fool me twice. You can't fool me twice.
right. So I think, I mean, just looking at it there, I think that's what I want to do with this guy. Is I want to do my flat just white, and then the coloring all comes in what colors I use for the shading.
All right, let's do it. Make the magic happen. Let's go.
Right. Well, I need to take all that shit out.
All right,
Now
I am,
here's the other thing I need to do.
as
Now,
I'm famous for doing,
I
I'm going to walk away, but I'm still here.
I've I've heard you do
Yes,
that.
go on.
I'm ready for it, and I'm not looking at you
Yep.
anyway, so I don't care.
All right, okay, carry on. You were saying something.
I am. So what I've got to do, coloring white is with a white background is just terrible. So I either need to change the background color. Maybe that's just what I need to do is change the background color. The other thing I sometimes will do is like I'll I'll, I'll do it in an area. It doesn't matter. Just color in another color and then switch that color to white, and then I get what I want. Or in this case, I'm going to change the background color.
I get what I want.
I get what I want. So now the whole background is now blue, but now I can see where I'm adding white.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Look at that. That's why they pay you the big bucks, man.
And another thing I talk about all the time on the Thursday show is you need to remember when you're drawing something like this that if you want something in your drawing to be white and it looks white, you still need to color it white.
They'll need to
Otherwise,
make
it's
it work.
not. It's the color of the paper underneath.
Right. Michael asks, is Jeff going to Page in Philly, comma, 2? And the answer is maybe.
Reply
Um,
hazy, ask later.
yeah. So the longer version, which I will regale you all with now, is that normally I go to PAX Unplugged at the beginning of December. I used to live in Philadelphia, still have many dear friends there, and PAX U has been my vacation con to visit the tropical wonderland of Philadelphia in December. Um, uh, but this year they moved it. They moved PAX U to the weekend before Thanksgiving, and I cannot make it that weekend. And
A
so
much less convenient time.
it is. It does not work for me. And so um, I still want to go. I still want to have my little vacation con. So I'm thinking about making it Page. However, if I do that, I'll have all these divided loyalties because you'll be there, and a bunch of other people like Ed will be there,
Right.
and I don't even know who else, but a whole bunch of people, and I will definitely want to spend time with them. However, going to Philadelphia is the time for my Philadelphia friends who are not particularly notorious for gaming, right? They're not, recognized names, but they're still very important to me. And so if I go, I've got to say to one group of friends, you know, nice to see
Sorry,
you.
you don't get all
Um,
of me.
yeah. Uh, and so I don't know. I mean,
All
that's
right. I
not
mean,
enough
fair
reason
enough.
not
So
to do it.
maybe, but maybe
Yeah.
not.
Yeah. Also, if all the air traffic controllers get fired or burned out, then no, I'm not going. I'm not going ever again. Um,
Yeah. Thought a little bit about that. Um. So what's going on in the kobold world these days?
what is going on in the Cobalt world? We've announced Night Hunters, um, and that is my current project. I don't know what I can say, so I won't say
Right.
too
Well,
much,
don't say much.
but it's coming to Kickstarter pretty soon, and uh, and I am busily editing a gothic horror book. Um, I think I think I can say this, and if I can't, nobody nobody rat me out. But it's gonna be um, kind of a kobold take on Ravenloft. Um, Not in the same sense that there's a Strahd, but that there are domains of dread. Except we're not calling them that, right? But there are a bunch of sort of gothic horror uh, elements, right? And each one is sort of its own place, and so you can sort of treat it like an extension of the domains of dread if you want. Um, if you're from that era of TSR, then it's sort of like here's a bunch of new domains of dread, right? Um, but most of the audience is not from that era, and so we're not really pitching it that way. I think it's more like uh, here are some tragic horror figures and monsters and such that uh, you can throw the back of your forearm over your forehead and bemoan their fate. Um, and so I'm working on that. I think it's cool. I'm enjoying working on it. It's a little bit of a different headspace because I'm whenever you leave it up to me to do horror, you wind up a necromancer, right? I'm not really. I'm not. It winds up being kind of funny. There's a Ghostbusters is one of my favorite movies, and frankly one of my favorite role playing games. And to this day, it continues to color all of my creative works. And so this isn't that, right? This is um, you know what have I done? Oh my goodness. This one's more for the theater kids than the improv kids. Um,
Listen, do you smell that?
do you smell something? Listen, it was like the fifth time I'd watched that movie before I got that joke, and when I did, I just broke down laughing. Nobody else in the room thought it was as funny as I did, but I made sure they all fucking got it
Yeah.
because I said it 50 times and paused the movie.
You see? You see? You get it? They listen.
He,
Did
he said,
did
"Listen, do you smell something? Those are different senses. Wait, let me explain it a different way." Yeah, Michael, you could mix it. You could mix it. Yes, my goodness, Michael. I don't know what you do for a living, but you could work in marketing. Look at you. You're killing it over here. Um, Michael says, sounds like stuff you could mix with Ghost Fires, Aetheris, and Grim Hollow. And indeed, you could very easily do that. Um, um,
All right. Let's see. Now, one of the things I need to
all right.
decide is what color the pieces are because I didn't put all the pieces in exactly the same spot. And there's a lot of white pieces
Yeah.
showing on the board, not a lot of black pieces. Do I want to keep that?
Hmm. Why do you think the artist made that choice in the first place?
Uh, because it's the end of the game, and that
Yeah.
you get the showdown between the kings.
Right. Well, you can see the black pieces that are captured off the board,
Right,
and it looks like white's about to win this game, but
but black's fighting. Black's not giving up
yeah,
without a fight.
the black has the upper hand.
All right.
Michael says I did work in marketing actually. It was a software startup. We all did everything. Sounds sounds like gaming. Sounds like you've been in a gaming company.
So,
A a good friend of mine here is a programmer, and when we go have lunch together, we often remark to each other how much our jobs sound alike. Like the things that he does and the things that I do. Mine just involve elves, and his involve arcane things I don't understand. Um,
so this week, the I've had after a really really challenging summer.
yes, yes.
I've had a couple uh, of project opportunities that landed on my plate that I'm
Do tell.
to pursue, and I can't say a lot about either of them. NDA and such.
Do tell not very much.
Right. Yes. But one of them was a consultation gig. One of them, I'm waiting for the contract right now, and it's supposed to start real soon and run for the next, I don't know, next couple of months actually. But
Yeah.
this was a consulting, mostly a consulting gig. Um, they for a company that was developing a new OSR style game, old school
Mm-hmm.
Revolution style,
Right, right. Yep.
and um, I was just hired on, and they brought on a whole bunch of people, like some of whom names you'd know uh, as kind of strong uh, people who've done work for mid-sized companies and designed games and products that you might have heard of, and some who are strong up and comers, and then some new people who seem to really know what they were doing about put
Mm-hmm.
together a
Mm-hmm.
pretty big team,
Mm-hmm.
and it was
And
just
you.
and me too.
I
I don't
mean,
know how I
yeah.
fit in that, but sure. Somehow I got in also.
You're one of the strong up and comers.
Uh, yeah, let's say that. Um, and all of a sudden, this week was it, no last week. Uh, we get up on Monday and we find out we all have emails in our inbox saying the whole thing's done right now. We're done right now. It has nothing to do with you. We're canceling the entire project. Now, I mean, thankfully for me, it was it was a uh, small commitment, small part of my commitment, but I was getting pretty good rate for my hours. So, although it was not a lot of hours, it was not an insignificant amount of money.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but I already was filling a lot of other hours with these other projects, so I miss that higher rate of return on those hours, but it a wasn't a calamity for me.
Yeah.
Other people
Yeah.
who had been doing this and had been as this had come along, they were making it more uh, intricate. And as we talked, they'd say, "Oh, well, we should do this," and we would say to them, "Look, in order to do that, that's going to mean more hours." And they were getting more hours, and they were turning down other work and kind of had their
Oh
schedule
no. Ooh.
planned on doing this, and then it was just
Mm.
like whoop, gone.
Yeah, that stinks.
Yeah, and as we found out more about what had happened, which I won't talk about, um,
Right. Right.
uh, it seemed very much the company was owned by one person with a lot of money that was running everything and just kind of got it in their head they wanted a certain thing, and when they couldn't get it, said, I'm just closing it down."
Right.
And
Right.
everyone paid for it because he had been paying for it.
Yeah. Right.
And
Right.
so I
Now
was
everyone else gets to pay for it.
right.
Yeah.
I was reminded of it at in Lake Geneva when we would sit quietly in our cubes or we'd start talking about what was going on and some of the business decisions that were being made, and we
Yeah.
would sit and quietly in our cubes look at each. Someone would stop and look around and say, "The Queen is mad, you know."
There is a high incidence of these sorts of things in gaming. I don't know. Maybe this is every line of work. I've only mainly been in gaming, but I just feel like I've I have got a lot of stories, and you have got a lot of stories about, oh boy, so there was this one person in charge who had all the money, and
Yeah,
they were a little unhinged, and one day they woke up and decided to make everything different. And I mean, wow, there's a lot of those stories.
yeah. Well, I think yes, and you hear that at the places that are run by Bezoses and Musks and any kind of situation where you've got one
Yeah.
person with the who's who's making it happen. And they don't get what they want. They're not happy. Suddenly, everyone else is unhappy.
I mean, I wonder if that's what happens at Microsoft every so often, whenever things just suddenly something that, they've poured gazillion million dollars into. They're like, we're
Yeah.
canceling this. Did we
Well, I mean,
say we were
certainly
making a
that happened.
phone? We're not making a phone. You're fired. You're all fired.
Yeah, I mean that's certainly what recently with um, the like when they did those big layoffs across the company, there's a
Yeah.
lot of people feeling exactly like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Certainly talking to people I know a bunch of people who work at ZeniMax,
Mm-hmm.
and you
Mm-hmm.
know a bunch of them too, and they are now part of the Xbox brand,
Yep. Yep.
and
Yep.
that kind of things like that happen over there. All of a sudden, things are going good here. Everything's looking good where we are. Yeah, well, it's not looking good in Redmond, and so here's some shit for you. Oh, okay.
Surreptitious confirms that this has been seen in completely unrelated fields. So maybe it's not just gaming. Uh, I want to say that somehow it feels like more of a rug pull in gaming, but I don't know that that's true. It's just that's most of what I've done. Like I've worked in several different industries, but gaming is where I've spent most of my career. Um, and in other industries, I've never had like one moneybags person
I think that in
ruin the
gaming,
entire company just for not wanting to play ball anymore.
I think it's just more, maybe it's more common for a game company to be like that than other companies to be like that. I mean, people with big money who want to make money don't go into gaming.
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah, it's for those of us who make the thing, it's kind of a passion project. But for people who fund the thing, it's also a passion project. It's just that when they uh, have a crisis, um, it blows the whole thing up instead of blows up one section of the product.
Yeah. Anyway, so that happened to me last week.
So that happened to you, and now look at you bouncing back.
Yeah, well, and like I say, it was not. I I was. It felt like a crisis, and every by every measurement, it was just a pain in the ass. I like I say, I've lost some money that would have been nice to have, but thank goodness I was not counting on it. For the people in
Yeah,
this group that were counting on it, it's a crisis for sure.
yeah. If there is, this is maybe not the place to do this, but if there's anybody you'd recommend, let me know. Because sometimes we have things at Cobalt. Um,
I will.
that's a conversation for another time. But
Right.
um,
That's not a here and now conversation.
yeah, 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 yeah.
All right. So now here we go again with um, the black and the white. So I one of the things about black is you can't make it black. Right? The
Right.
lines are black. The Black Knight is actually a version of blue. I think. Yeah. It's a dark blue that we read as black. But now
Hmm.
I've got this other black, which is the
Even on the
more
original piece, that's like
the original piece has, because it's more tonal. There is more hard black in there. But you look at it, a lot of it is not, right? It's there's Go
dark.
ahead.
Go ahead. What? No,
You
no,
were
I'm listening. No, no, I'm wrapped. Go.
uh, right. So
Continue.
if we look at his shoulder and his chest, right? That shoulder piece here. I'm gonna maybe make a new layer so I can draw this and not muck around with uh, the other one, right? If we drop the black in, right, there's going to be black there, but this part here, even on the original, is not black, and on the chest even more so. There's black here, but this part on the original, that's a different color, and this part here is a different color. So, um, I'm going to use an even darker version. But because there's no line, they don't have to worry about it. If I just put down completely black, it covers up the line and you can't see what's going on there. So I can't make things black. I've got to use some variant of gray. Nope. Uh, That was I was so interesting that Jeff just disappeared. I put the black down and Jeff went out.
When you put that black down, I was floored. All right, no, hang on. I gotta do a thing. I'll be right back.
Okay. So, as I often say, I can't, I got to make something that looks black, but there are different qualities of black, and the black on the board is black, and I can't do that. I've just got to find another version of black which is significantly darker than the color of, say, the knight's armor. So here's a good one. So I want to put this square filled with black, but I also want the line to still be readable. The lines around it to be readable. So that seems about it. So again, on its own, you might say, well, okay, that's black for sure. But if we zoom in here, we see that the lines are blacker still. And then I can fill these in, like so. It's saying the white, I did use a pure white, and we're going to be using the shading to determine, to distinguish different colors of whites, different colors of off-white. Here, I think I'm going to also just use the same pure white, but it's got to stay pure.
I suppose that when you're in the art biz, uh, eventually you just sort of get used to saying things about black and white and purity and stuff, and it doesn't sound like white nationalism.
Yeah.
But uh, from over here, it certainly makes me cringe a little bit. Well, like earlier, whenever I was like, okay, the black guy and the white guy, and I was like, oh boy, I hope none of this is taken out of context.
Yeah. Well, yes, you still try and be careful about how you say those things. Ay, 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 ay.
How many hours normally goes into really finishing one of these things?
Um, it's about uh, somewhere between 8 and 12 hours usually. For me doing one of these pieces. But I was just thinking about that today because I was talking with someone else about rates, about how to figure out what to charge for your time as an artist.
Yeah.
And um, if I'm doing this for someone else, if I'm doing this as part of an assignment, it's even more than that because when I do it for me, I just make all the decisions and I do it. And if I'm
Oh,
doing
right.
it for someone else, I've got to do the sketches and then send them
Yeah.
to be approved, and then
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
factor in the
Just
time.
sort of
Yeah,
administration. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the possibility that they might ask me for redos.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
so it's not just how long does it take to do it; it's how long to take to do it
Right.
and get it approved, and then
How
the same.
long how long when Jeff tells you to make several changes in
Right.
something that's already done? Yeah.
Yes. Which is, yeah, and every once in a while you wind up with, well, you wind up when you're contracting very often saying you get this many changes or blah de blah,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
and or saying okay I can make that, but if you want this then I'm going to have to charge more.
Right. Right. I worked with a back when I was in my board game days. I was trying to hire a graphic designer whose work I liked and who I wanted to work on a game, and I was just having him make a logo to just to get started. And he turned over a logo, and I told him at the beginning, I was like, "Listen, this is going to be iterative. There might be, uh, there's going to be several people who need to have an opinion, and things might take a few tries." And and he turned over a logo and was like, "I will give you one revision." And I was like, "Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
think we're done here." Right? Like we just like I like you, I like your work, but if you're gonna be that way, I'm sorry. Like our shit is not together enough to work that way.
Yeah, so that's often, and I was talking, the person I was talking to today, I was saying that's why you don't just figure an hourly rate and how
Yeah,
long it's going to take. Why you take your hourly rate and you multiply it, because it's got to cover all those things.
yeah, yeah,
And you, when figuring out your hourly rate, you need to. One of the other things we were talking about was that you need to factor in the fact the the reality that you are going to have to spend. You won't spend 40 hours a week doing this. You're going to have to spend probably half your time, a lot of the time, looking for work. And
yeah,
but the time you're working has to cover the cost of that too.
yeah, yeah. Fairly early in my freelance career, Jeff Grubb uh, gave me some wisdom, as he often does, and he said, a third of the job is getting the job, a third of the job is doing the job, and a third of the job is getting paid for the job. And that really stayed with me. Uh, Partly because I'm so bad at the first and third parts of the job. Like I'm I'm pretty good at what I do, but I do not want to like I'm bad at hustling and
Yeah,
and and I really don't want to, like I'll send you an invoice, but I don't want to run you down and make you pay me. I'd really just rather let's,
I'd rather you just paid me.
yeah.
That was what you agreed to. Please do that.
But I mean, that's not how it works really. You got to run people
Right.
down, and it's yet another reason why I appreciate Cobalt Press. Uh, One, because I have a full-time job and so I don't have to worry about it. But two,
Right.
Wolfgang is quite reputable, and he's a busy guy. He's got a bunch of things going on, but he prioritizes getting people paid. Like
Yeah.
if he says he's
Yeah.
going to pay you, then the money comes uh, on time, uh,
Yeah.
without having to hassle him about it. Um,
100%. 100%. Um, One of the other things that we were talking about, or you know what, actually we weren't. One of the things I thought about after the conversation when I was driving home, um, is that just kind of what you said, like having a job and getting, having being on salary, getting a thing. You'd think that okay, well now I know what it costs to
yeah,
do this
no,
job,
no,
but it's not even close
no,
because you are not
nope.
what they're paying you. What a company is paying you is probably at best half of what it costs them to have you. And so if you
Yeah.
don't have a company doing all that,
Yeah.
that's what you need to be charged. You need to take that into. It's not just
Right.
what you get per hour; it's the other half of your insurance, which the company is paying for. Well, that's
Right.
one now that's got to come right out of your pocket. All
Right.
all of that stuff. So
And it actually, like, whenever I come up with that actual number, like, of, like, I've done those calculators and I've run the numbers and I'm
yeah,
like, frankly, I mean, I hate to say it, maybe I'm underselling myself, but I was like, I wouldn't pay me that much.
yeah, yeah.
Like that's a lot. That is a lot. I mean, like I get it. It's what's needed, but uh,
No, even the
this,
the amount that I price my hours at probably should be higher.
yeah, yeah. But there's also just,
What the market
what
will
the client
bear.
will
Yeah,
pay.
that's
Yeah.
who's gonna pay that much. Well, not a lot of people. Um,
Yeah, so Michael has had several insightful things to say over here, which I have not been a great help at conveying. But one thing he said most recently is when you temp, you learn that your hourly rate is only 40% of what the company is
well,
paying you
you
for
hope
your
if you're
presence.
lucky, you learn
Yeah.
that.
Well, I mean, I learned it. Like I did a bunch of temping in when I worked in marketing uh, as a copywriter and as an editor and a proofer and stuff, and I completely understood that. Um, uh, which is why whenever I found a company where I wanted to work, I would make sure that they understood that, you know, they were free to have me cheaper if they wanted to, bring me on. Um,
Right.
and
Yeah,
I,
no, the
I,
same
I
thing.
actually find it alarming how much companies are willing to pay for temp work.
Yeah, for the
Like it's,
convenience of not having to.
yeah, for someone else to handle that crap
It
for
also
them.
it
Yeah,
also that also is informative of how much extra it costs to pay to have you on staff, because
right.
in the end it is, and it's dollars and cents to them. How much does it cost to hire you and keep you as an employee? Well, we'd rather pay what seems to be 2.5 times what your salary is
Yeah,
to
yeah.
to keep you away from us, from our books, right? You're on someone else's book.
Right, right. Yeah,
I mean, when they hire you, to an extent, it's it seems like they're saving money. But
right. Well, that's how that's one way that I would pitch it whenever I wanted to go to work for somewhere. It's just like, look, this seems to be working out. We both seem to like this. How about you save some money and bring me on board? And sometimes they just straight up didn't want to, right?
yeah,
They're just like, nah.
it's worth it to keep you the hell out
Right, right. We value our freedom.
of here. It sounded like some relationships have been in.
All right, we're getting on toward like 9:30 in Central Time. I should probably go soon. Um,
That is fair. I I told you when you signed on, you only have to stay as long as you can. I
right,
stay.
right.
I also stay as long as I want, but that will be long.
That's the same rules that you make
Right.
yourself up live
But
under. Yeah.
but I will stay
Okay.
longer.
All right. All right. Chat. Stan loves you more than I do. Um,
Is there anything? So one of the things we should talk about before you go is the Cobalt coloring contest, which is going on right now.
oh yeah. Right. Right. Right.
'Cause
I
that's both
brought that
you
up and
and
then
me.
forgot all about it. Yeah. Let me
Uh,
see if I can give you a link so that you can give everybody else a link. Michael, of course, is already on it and is on like his third draft. So I expect to see some real artistry coming from that.
yeah.
Um,
So it's based on the cover for Riverbank RPG, but it's based on the drawing, the homage I did here on this show of that cover. And it's a coloring page, and if you color it and submit it, you could win some cool stuff from Cobalt Press, including a
All right,
copy of that game.
I'm gonna put up the link in our secret chat, and then you can send it to the
Wow, that's a
hundreds
big long
waiting out
link.
there. Yeah. Well, so there's a little story there because I've been trying to make the blog more SEO friendly,
Yeah.
and one way you do that is just by absolutely maxing out the characters in the title, and so all of my blog titles these days are all sentences, and it's a weird world in out there in internet land.
It's a strange old world, isn't it?
All right,
All
chat.
right,
You're great.
Jeff.
Thanks.
Thank you
Good to
very
see you.
much. You come over here. Thank you very much
You know what?
for joining me.
Another thing that we didn't even talk about, Stan. Wait, I'm gonna interrupt your
Yeah.
benediction. Another thing we didn't even talk about was the Godzilla role-playing game, which IDW is gonna kickstart sometime next year.
That looks exciting. You know what? I haven't
I
been
don't know
reading
what to think about that.
their most recent Godzilla comics. They've been putting out Godzilla comics for the last 15 years plus, and they've had different uh, iterations of those. Some of them have
Yeah.
been connected. Some have been standalone, and a whole bunch of different standalone. But the current one, I've not been reading. But that's what this game is going to be based
All right.
on. Or so I was reading in the Kickstarter thing.
Well, I have a bunch of comments, but I got to go, so I'm not gonna try to drag this out. But uh,
Well, thank you for bringing it
hey,
up.
that'll be cool. Yeah, yeah, right, right. Good thing I brought it up at the very last second.
Good
Um,
job.
yeah, well, next time I'm on, maybe we can talk about it then.
Hey, you
Uh,
know what? You are welcome back every time you want to come.
all right, sweet. We'll do it again soon.
Thank
All
you
right,
very
peace out,
much.
everybody.
Bye, Jeff.
See y'all.
And that was Jeff Quick. And now it's just me. Which means I'm going to have to try and keep a better handle on what you folks are saying in the chat. I've been doing a very poor job of that tonight. But I'll try to do better. I will try to do better. Mostly I'm going to color. Ay, 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 ay. So, what else? What else do I need to tell y'all? I'm going to be recording another uh, with a Dragonlance themed podcast sometime in the next few days. I don't know when it's going to. I don't think it's going to be live streamed at all. I think we're just recording it, and they're going to do it in a future date. But it's very nice to be remembered by the folks in the Dragonlance community. What I did was not always appreciated. It came at a complicated time in the history of that particular title, that world, that property. Um, and there were a lot of moving pieces going around it. So it's always nice to have when someone invites you to be on a show. It's usually not to tell you that they hated what you did 35 years ago. So it'll be nice. It'll be fun. All right, now I need to figure this out here. Oh no, I still need to do the whites again. So again, I'm going to change the color here to blue. Blue. And I got to do the whites on the board because, as I keep saying, if you want something to look white, you need to make sure that it is white. And as Jeff pointed out, that is not at all having to do with anything other than pigmentation in flat colors on a screen, not human skin variations, skin color variations. But so many drawings, and paintings, artwork of all done are done on media, paper or canvas or whatever, that is colored pure white. 100, let's say 100% white, 100% W, and you need to make sure that anything in your picture that is supposed to have that hue has it on its own merits and not is just borrowing it from the background. Andrew mentioned it in chat earlier. Oh, well. I'm guessing you're talking about my interview with the Dragonlance folks. Well, that was awfully nice of him. It's funny because when we were originally talking about it, uh, the we were planning it out for later in the month and possibly into the month of December, and then the difficulty of getting everyone's schedules to align cropped in, and it seemed like it was going to keep moving back. And my response was, sure, hey, you know what? Plan this out, figure when is good, and we'll do it. And then they came back and they said, how about this Friday? And I said, well, yes, here's what I have going on this Friday. And they said, we could do it. And so it just happened. Look at that, coming all together, looking all chessboardy. It's funny with Jeff and I talking about the how to price out your time as a freelancer. Um, the um, one of the interesting things is although today I was talking with another creative about that. Recently, I was having that conversation with someone who's not a creative, and I was trying to explain to them how um, how I set my rates, how you figure out what you're going to charge, and uh, they didn't have any experience of working like that, or on a lot of the things that Jeff and I were just talking about, the amount of time something might take, and how that's not the entirety of your pricing structure. It's not just that this is going to take um, 8 to 10 hours. Like, how much do I charge for one of these drawings? If it's just one of the ones, if it's just something I get to do what I want, well, I know it's going to take 8 to 12 hours. But if you want to hire me to do something and you want some input, then I actually have to figure out my costs based on more hours than that, because you are going to require more hours than that. And they said, whoa, no, I won't. And then we started talking, and I was explaining the kind of things Jeff and I were talking about. And they realized that, oh, yeah, well, who's paying for that? Well, that's my business, so I've got to put it into the price. Teos Abadia on his AlphaStream channel had a couple of videos devoted to developing your rate sheet. Yeah, yeah, it's hard. And in the end, as Jeff was saying, it's there. If you price it out really correctly, you you limit the number of people who can afford to pay you. It's things in the game industry. I'll tell you what, freelance rates in the game industry have gotten significantly better in the last couple of years, and maybe even more than a couple. But they were stuck in the distant past, but they still are. Right? You look at uh, um, doing writing, and there's still so many uh, small to smaller, mid-sized companies in the game industry that want to pay somewhere in the 5 to 10 cents a word for writing. And uh, when you look back and think that 100 years ago, 100 years ago, 2 or 3 cents a word was what writers were getting paid. And but the thing was, at that rate, they could afford to, have careers. And try and do something at 10 cents a word 100 years later. Imagine if you were still getting paid only 4 or 5 times what someone was making for your job in 1925, right? In a time when families were living on $15,000 a year. Living here in the Seattle area right now, it seems like, if you, depending on which company or news organization you're looking at, right, in order to uh, just get by as an individual at the basic level, you're looking at $50,000+ a year, and that's not living high on the hog. That's just paying for basic everything. Got to charge a lot to wind up making that, particularly, as I say, when you've got a factor that probably 50% of your time is looking for work. Michael says, my first offer for a small gaming company was 10 cents a word a couple of years ago. Yeah, well, but that's a small company. And even that should be too low. That should be too low. But then again, you get things like the. I was having lunch with some folks who were talking about fan reaction to the new Wizards releases, the Forgotten Realms releases, is that the pricing is too high. But the pricing is $40 for one of the books and $50 for another one of the books. It's 2 books. That's what That's now what we were charging 25 years ago. Has the price of everything else stayed around what it was 25 years ago? No, it has not. If the D&D books at $40 a pop, the basic cost has not gone up since 2000, the early 2000s, in the aughts. And you know, I'm not unmindful of the fact that it's expensive. right? That the gamers have to. Uh, I'm a gamer too. I want to buy all this stuff, and I can't afford it either. But yeah, I mean, in this day and age, a 250, let's just call it 250 page full color hardcover book that sells in the numbers that game products sell, even for Wizards of the Coast, $40, not an unreasonable ask. And that's one of those things about being an individual entrepreneur, right? You can then afford, because you don't have the overhead that a large company has, you can afford to make those same costs because you don't have to pay for everything that a company has to pay for. But man, the only way you get someone as a company like that, as an individual or a company, the only way you get someone to pay that much money on a Kickstarter is by having having it feel like there are add-ins, that it's not just going to the store and buying the product. Because if they go to the store and look at it, the average consumer still looks at it and thinks that's a high price. Oh, we need to change subjects, or I'm just going to whine about this for the rest of the night. What else? What else? Come on, folks, give me a something else to talk about. I'm going to look up in a second. I'm going to hope that there are some good questions or topics there for me to latch onto and warble about. Look at that. Chessboards. Okay. WotC makes it up with, yeah, well, one of the things that WotC gets is they do have a lot of volume, which allows them to bring the prices lower because they're going to sell so many. But they need to generate a higher number. Right? On the other hand, a smaller operator charging the same amount will have higher profit on those same numbers, but they can't sell that many. The number they can sell is a tiny little fraction of what Wizards will sell. Shading and picking the right color gray. Oh, Linnea, I knew I could count on you for some help. What are some of my favorite board games that aren't tabletop role playing game related? That aren't tabletop role playing game related. Um, I'm a big fan of I was just mentioning this the other day of Tokaido. You guys know the game Tokaido? Came out about 10 or so years ago. Uh, it's a game where you are walking through walking through Japan. It uh, it is. Let me see. How does this look? Um, there is the major road from uh, Osaka and Kyoto to what is modern day Tokyo, was Edo in feudal Japan, is the Tokaido, the Great Eastern Road. And it's still the name of the train line that runs that route. It's the Tokaido line. And back in the day, a lot of people would travel that road going from Kyoto to Edo and back. And uh, there were a lot of many famous stops along the way. And so this game is just based on the things you do and see taking this trip. It's not competitive. Well, I mean, it's points based, but uh, um, you're not building and directly confronting the the opponents in it. It's just that if you stop somewhere, no one else can stop somewhere, because so no one else can stop there while you're there. And so the it's competitive in that if you do a thing, if more than one player wants to do a thing, well, whoever gets there first gets to do it. And you need to choose as you are going down the road what it is you're going to do and what you're going to spend your money on. And there are ways to earn a little money going forward, and like that. It's a fun game. It's a charming, fun game. Very different from any other games at the time it came out. Since then, there have been other games that are similar to it that have come out, I know, though none of them are hopping to mind immediately. It was quite influential in that it was just so fun and quietly charming. And yet you still had a winner. Um, so I like that. I was always a big fan of the of Circus Maximus, the chariot racing game, Ben Hur chariot racing game, Ben Hur style chariot racing game, and a lot of people when they play that emphasize the kind of combat between you can whip other people's horses and ram your chariots into other people. Basically, the way to win the game is to win the race. So if you focus on racing, you will probably win the game. Although you'll have a lot of fun if you focus on uh, attacking your opponents. You can have a lot of fun doing that too. You won't win the game though. Okay, so here we go. We're getting to the point. I probably want to come back here and look at this shield because I have it flat gray now, but that's not it really. We need to add some other colors in there. Why is there a spot of white on that chess piece? Which layer is that on? It's on this layer. All right. Yeah. So I really like Circus Maximus. One of the things I've never gotten to do though, Circus Maximus. Yeah, every time I've played it, it's been one off at a convention or something. But they have rules for running a whole season and um, having a not just your horses and your chariot for one race, but a spare ones and uh, running a team throughout the course of a season and earning points for wins and uh, you know wagering on who's going to win. I think one of the interesting things is you have to wager half of the money you're wagering has to be on your own team. At least half of the money you're wagering has to be on your own team. So you're not incentivized to the throw the match. But the other half you can bet on other people, and it's not just bet to win. You can lots of different betting, and it looks fascinating. But I've never gotten to play that. No one's ever won, because one race takes an hour and a half to 3 hours, depending on how many people are playing and how involved they get in fighting each other. Um, and the full on betting version is over the course of a 10 or 11 race season. So so in order to do that, you really need to do it as like it would be your game night. Like we're going to commit to our campaign for a while is going to be we're going to do Circus Maximus and play once a week for X number of weeks to play a season. And never had anyone who really wanted to do that, so I've never gotten to play that kind of Circus Maximus. Someday, perhaps. Someday. Let's see. I was talking before about the many colors on the Black Knight here, or the Black King, and what color I want to use to make those to do the trim in, and I think that gold is going to be the color. It's looking like gold is what he's trimmed his armor in. And that makes sense. So, there are a couple other questions here. Um, was there a golden age at TSR Wizards for developers, or has it always been a hectic mess? Um, the answer is probably both. I mean, a golden age depends on who you talk to. Uh, there have been several what feel like golden ages when there's a great team and you're doing a lot of good work and it feels like everything's going smooth until suddenly it doesn't. Until suddenly layoffs, etc. And you can no longer consider the golden age. Um, but even during those times, there are problems, and some people are not happy. So I'd feel bad insisting that one era or another was was golden in that there were no problems. But um, I think that right after moving out from Wisconsin to Seattle, when everyone, uh, all the people working, first of all, we all got significant increases in our salary. Now it was more expensive to live in Seattle, but um, what we were paid in Wisconsin was, you could afford apartments in Wisconsin, not just in Lake Geneva. Right? It was what you were paid at TSR was not making a great living if you lived in Milwaukee. which a lot of people did, or some people did. You lived in Lake Geneva and you visited Milwaukee or Chicago or one of the other cities, larger cities. When we moved out to Seattle, we were paid enough at the time that we felt like, we weren't super rich, but we felt like we were getting paid enough to live comfortably in the Seattle area. And things, we'd just been bought. The company liked us. We were no longer worried if we were gonna make it. There's a lot about that era which had a golden era feel about it. Right up until and then when the Hasbro buyout happened, like everyone was a little nervous, certainly right away about what's going to happen when Hasbro takes over. But again, people made a lot of money. We were given stock options based on our time at TSR. So a lot of people made a significant amount of money in that period, and it was, we were working on third edition. There's a lot about that period that feels like that. Having said that, I was not there, but it sure feels like, um, the second edition in the late 80s to early 90s, right up until maybe 92, 93, maybe a little later, before the financial um, uncertainties started coming along. That was almost certainly a golden era. After that, I don't think that after the the Hasbro layoff era, the end of whatever you want to, whether it's a golden era or not, whatever you want to call the early third edition, I don't think that there has been another period of time that felt golden. Now, I mean, I haven't been there. I've been working for them a lot, but as an outsider with a knowledgeable interest in what's going on, it hasn't felt that way. There have been times when it has seemed more or less um, chaotic, but it definitely hasn't seemed like there's been a for someone in house a period where you felt like, yes, we have now things are really working. We are comfortable. We are relaxed. Always a little worried about what's going to happen at the next quarterly report. But that's one of your challenges of working. That's one of the downsides of working for a publicly owned company of any sort. All right. All right. I think that's looking good. I think are good flats for this. Now, I've not dealt at all with our skull in the background, our floating skull, which we talked about before. But I think that background, that's part of worrying about the background, which comes later. The skull and the shadows under the next phase is to look at shading on our main characters and the chess board and the chess pieces. But right now, this is where we're at after another time. We've been working on this now for another. Let's see, definitely talked for half an hour. So another hour to 90 minutes. Another 90 minutes got us this far. All right, let me see. Let me see what's going on here. Um, it's a great book, Slaying the Dragon. It gives great insight into the history of TSR Wizards. Seems like it almost always was hectic. Well, it always. I mean, you're in a creative. Publishing is always hectic, no matter what. Right? The publishing industry. It's not never a huge money making industry, and so jobs are always hectic, and it's deadline based, which is just a hectic way to live, no matter what. Um, So yeah. I mean, each era has that. Right? It will, as a publishing uh, company, as a publishing endeavor, it's you're never going to go get away from that feeling. But there are times when that feels um, good and fun and like you're striving to do thing, and not like you're running and trying not to fall off, you know, before the ground falls out from underneath you. It's a maybe it's kind of a subtle difference, right? The difference between running because you've got to reach this thing and you've got to do it, and running because the ground underneath you is collapsing, and if you don't go fast enough, you're going to perish. And the other thing is, any creative endeavor like that, any creative business, you're always trying to, no matter what you do, uh, if it succeeds, you want to do, and as a business, you need to do better. You never get to just sit around and say, all right, well, let's just do that again. You gotta, you're immediately what you succeeded at. That's great. Better. A year from now, we got to release something better. Now, get going. Do it. There's as a creative person, I can tell you, there's a period of that you need to, after achieving that thing, there's a period you need to just kind of relax and gather your creative juices and think about, okay, how can we do better, and kind of sit with the stuff that you finished and steep in it. Like, it's not an idea, you put it out there, it's real, you can actually interact with it and see it does this, it does this. Oh, what is it? Oh, we could do this other thing, or how I've done this, where do I want to go next? In an industry, in a publishing company, there's none of that. It's whatever you do this year, you've got to do next. You got to do more next year. Um, let's see. Hey, Jacob Blackman, thanks for showing up, man. Good to see you. Uh, I like having the trim stand out. Yeah. Hello, Joseph Wolf. Thank you for popping in too. Um, I've always wondered why uh, any of the companies have cracked the code when it comes to the D. Which D suite are you talking about? When you say the D suite, do you mean the C suite? Those keys are very close to each other. Oh, D suite meaning the R&D suite. Wow, wow. I don't know. I mean, you get the mix of. There have been a lot of really good eras of teams that work really well together. Uh, um, Certainly have the original years, and then the Zeb Cook and Jeff Grubb years. Uh, they just being the two big names. It's not just them, and it's not because of them, but they are the standout superstars of that era. I mean, that's the era of Roger Moore and yeah, and I shouldn't start saying names because I'm immediately gonna forget people that I don't mean to, and it seems like I don't put them on the same value. That that era, and then we came in. We talked about the class of '95 a lot, right? The folks who came in the same time I did, um, and all the Sean Reynolds and me and Monty was ahead of us. Bill Slavicsek at that era before us. We came in at the tail end of that, and then we have the start at Wizards, which is basically that same crew plus a few more people that we got to add when we went out to Seattle. Um, and that what the third edition creatively, wow, was that a great, the whole department. What we did there was really fantastic. And then, all right, the going to the 3.5 things were a little chaotic, but they did some really interesting things in the years after I got laid off and left, the early in the aughts, right? Andy Collins and Rob Hainso and the team that was going there. Um, at the same time that the third edition stuff was going, people like Mike Selinker and I and Teo and Woodruff and Bruce Cordell was involved in a bunch of this. Some of the other people doing different things that went off that might not have been as successful. From an R&D perspective, there's a lot of interesting stuff going on. You get into the teens, and that's when the biggest problems. Like at one point, the D&D team on paper was down to one person, and everyone else was on related projects. D&D did not have a team anymore, and it was this close to getting canceled entirely. And so even then, it was a very small team that did a lot. The Mike Merles and Chris Perkins and Jeremy Crawford are the triumvirate of people that were involved in developing so much of what happened next. And it was a very slow crawl to get back to what right now is a pretty big team. Uh, I'll be honest, I don't know the names of everyone on the team anymore. Um, but they've got a really good creative team putting stuff together now. And I think that maybe in 10 years, we will be able to look back and say, well, there's another period when R&D really kind of gelled and did a bunch of really great stuff. Um, so, yeah. Michael says, I also wonder if people all working remotely has changed that dynamic. Well, it certainly is different. And I can't say, not being part of it, uh, I can't say how it's like. I mean, one of the interesting things that you had in Lake Geneva, in having the company based in a small town, um, is that even beyond work, everyone's socialized together. That in Lake Geneva in the 80s and 90s, uh, you. So I'm just trying to decide what layers I can turn off here to do this. There we go. You didn't have unless you were from there originally and you didn't move there for the job. Uh, you didn't have a uh, a social group outside of the company, and in fact, even if you did, if they probably the people that were from there, their social groups outside of the company were not gaming related. It's not a uh, you know, we were each other's tribe. If the fantasy be liking fantasy fiction liking sci-fi. These were not popular things broadly, so you didn't just work with these people. These people were where you socialize too. That changes everything. In today's society, where gaming is much more prevalent, where sci fi and fantasy are broadly popular genres, it's very likely that you can uh, have a friend and social group outside of the people you work with and still get your fantasy, get your fill of the stuff that is important to you. In Lake Geneva, it was the people you were working with. That was it, pretty much. People I knew who had friends outside of, like I say, outside of the the company, local friends who were outside of the company, uh, probably because you came from there or had lived there for a long time. Those were friends that were uh, very often, that was very often sports related. People who were big into big Green Bay Packers fans or baseball fans. A lot there weren't a huge number of people at the company who were fans of that. Though there was like a subgenre of the baseball fans at TSR. Um, so all of that is to say that um, in the modern iteration of the team, of the creative team, they're not going to be as close as we were because the need is not there. They will not be socializing together as much as we did. And I go back to the question about the re- remote working, right? In remote working, there will be even less of it, even less opportunity to be doing social stuff together. And I think that's certainly that's a challenge in creating that kind of camaraderie, that kind of sense of a group. I like how that has what that's brought out for him. Now we started with lighter. Let's go for darker. Not a lot to do in Lake Geneva. You're almost monks in a compound together. Yeah, well, not yes. That A, there's not a lot to do in Lake Geneva. But B, if you besides being not a lot to do in Lake Geneva, you all, if you wanted to go to a good bookstore, and a lot of us did, well, you went together. We'd take little trips. We'd plan trips on the weekend. Well, who wants to go to to the bookstore on Saturday and drive out, or go to several bookstores? Go to Janesville, or go to Milwaukee, or several other places, Milwaukee and Kenosha, and then we can get dinner here because if we all came from different parts of the country, we want kinds of food like there wasn't a lot of Mexican food in Lake Geneva. There wasn't a lot of options for Chinese food, so you'd go out together. So even when you were getting out of the area, you'd be getting out with the same people. I'd need a drop. Rob says I need a drop-in Zoom room to work remotely for the human contact and collaboration. Yeah, well, I know a lot of. Uh, I don't particularly like Slack, but Slack and the other um, programs like that seem to do that kind of thing for folks these days. What's going on here? Oh, all right, I see. All right, that's a channel that's always open, kind of, and people can go to interact. Personally, I don't think it works as well as something like an open Zoom room, but even that does not work as well as actually being able to go over and talk to someone. There's nothing that replaces that. It there's always give and take, right? People look at they get what they want out of a thing, but there's always something that you're giving up to get that thing. And I certainly really value being able to work remotely and work from my home, but I do miss being able to just wander over to someone else's cube to talk about something. And sure, I can call them, or I could have a Slack channel or a Zoom channel about it, but it's not the same. And it never will be the same again because we're not going to have that same era. But there's a lot to be gained and a lot to be said for the um, bullpen style of the creative services in Lake Geneva, of TSR in Lake Geneva. There's a closeness that current and future D&D teams will never achieve because they won't have that. There's a they probably may be more productive overall, uh, and have something that we could never touch because of that. But yeah, look at that, looking sharp. I like how that's turning out. Oh, Michael does too. Okay, good. It's not just me. I don't know what else. What did I miss? Any other interesting questions up here? I don't see it. All right. Well, there we go. Chris says the idea of so many genius level creatives in one room sounds magical. It must have been inspiring to come to work. Yeah, you know what? So let me just say that I'm not sure everyone uh, would have been comfortable with being called genius level. Uh, a lot of us, you know, a lot of people were very good at what we did, and there's an amount that I mean, here's the thing uh, that I think is definitely missing and may never be gotten back to again in the D&D development, and that's um, you don't have you don't have any of the wow. I'm going to say this, and I struggle with it because it's not clear that there ever was exactly what I'm describing, what I'm about to say, was ever really there. Um, but to an extent, the apprenticeship, right? The learning your craft from the people who are already doing it. And when you're working as we are now, you're getting assignments. They're only hiring on people who can do, and they always hired on people who could do the basic job, right? You don't get to work at at Wizards of the Coast, on D&D, on anything official if you can't already do the basic skill of the job. Particularly nowadays when it's all getting freelanced out, they're not going to hire someone to train. And they never did hire someone just because they had, you know, I mean, after getting away from the earliest years, they didn't hire people for potential. You had to have some growth potential, but you had to come with the ability to do the thing. You very like I came from West End Games before that, and other people came from West End Games or GDW or FASA or other companies where they had been working and proved that they could do the thing, and then TSR would hire them. After you'd get your skills in the quote unquote minor league, and then get moved up to the major league. It's a very troublesome comparison, and I don't stand by it 100%, but it, as a for this conversation, works very well. But when you get there, you still learn. You learn from the people who've been doing it more. And just kind of sitting around, you can part of the being able to walk into anyone's cube, you can you can go ask them, how would you do this? Or even more so, you're more likely to have the conversation of, what are you doing? Why are you doing it that way? And you had a lot more of, this is how we do it. Do it this way. Uh, and there's a lot of information and a lot of skill you learn from working in that soup, working in with the people who've been doing it a long time, working closely with them and learning from their best practices. Now it's just like, here's your assignment, turn over, you've got to turn over this much by this much time. And tell you for certain from my last time there that I thought they really needed more, and this comes from uh, the corporate side of reducing the amount of time and the amount of personnel that go into anything. There wasn't any there, there wasn't near enough time allotted, uh, money spent, and energy expended on training the people at the company. And I'll tell you for sure that in the fifth edition era, I'll cut it down that much. In the fifth edition era, I saw people working on projects, and they absolutely had the skill, the writing skill, the chops. They'd done projects, but they'd never done projects like the projects they were being asked to do, and they didn't know any of the best practices or even the basics. And there was no one teaching. They were just kind of thrown into the deep end with a, this is your deadline, this is your word count, get it done. And there's very poor mechanisms set up for giving feedback afterwards. At, and that's been a challenge. And when I was there, that was something that Kim Mohan and I would often talk about, and we're trying to figure out a way to increase our ability to give feedback to people and teach them how to do the job better. Teach them how to be better at what they do, and to, rather than just take what they did and then the system corrects the problems, and so the person creating it will won't learn to do better next time. They'll just do the same thing next time. You can't blame them for that. You've gotta be able to train them. Got to be able to give them the information on what they should be doing, how they can be doing it better. But that's not always in the business side's most highest priority. All the business side cares about is getting, if if the product gets out and meets its goals, and however it got there is how it got there, doesn't matter. He's looking pretty good. I still have to worry about that green glow, but I'll worry about that next. I yeah, on the back in 2018 when I was last on a contractor there, I had proposed to for them to hire me to do that kind of training for their staff. I identified places where I thought they really needed it. Um, and although one of the things that did happen, right, that we were still talking and sharing information. I was sharing information with people, but I was not in a position where they had to listen to me. Right? I was just this guy coming around saying, what are you doing? Let me just tell you, I would do it this way, and they would, I'll tell you from my perspective, from my experience, right? There are things I didn't like to do, outlining. I hated outlining back when I was a younger writer. Just different process things that someone told me, yeah, well, you have to do it, and I learned a lot doing it to the point that now I love outlining. I would not ever start a project of my own, or for anyone without having an outline. Um, if it had been up to me, if it had been totally up to me, I would have said, "Oh well, I hear you saying that it works really well for you, but that's not what I like to do." In 2018, there were people on the staff that needed someone whose job it was to give them that kind of guidance, and who they had to listen to. And I would bet dollars to donuts that that is the case today. I'd also bet that they don't have enough time and money and personnel in the schedule to make that happen. And things will just roll along, and the end product, you know what? That's one of the things that they're going to answer, because one of their key reasons that the two key reasons why all of what I'm talking about as a challenge did not get seen by the public, and why the products that came out were as good as they were, is Chris Perkins and Jeremy Crawford, who both were able to do just insane amounts of work at incredibly high level, and to take the bumpy product turnovers, the bumpy material that came in, and spin dross into gold. And they don't have them anymore. Which is not to say they don't have great people. They do. They have great people there. But none of them can do what Perkins and Crawford did in amount and quality. And maybe they can do the same in amount. Maybe they can do the same in quality. In fact, I'm sure they can. But amount and quality over time. I mean, time will tell. But that's a challenge they are going to be years in overcoming. Part of the answer, and they wisely recognize this, part of the answer has been increasing the size of the team. Just putting more hands on, because no single hand can replace what was going on there. But one of the things it's going to take them a while to realize is the I don't, I'm not even sure how to phrase this. It's what I was just talking about. Is it just because they've increased the amount that they can flow out, they have lost? Again, to go back to what I was saying, the company does not value the the business company does not value some of the creative uh, energies and mm, the intangible thing that adds, that is not going to be the intangibles that they have lost, that they will not understand because they are intangible. You can't really put direct um, a direct descriptor of it. You can't just replace it. I mean, it's not just the numbers. Whether numbers mean time or money or anything else you can just supply more of. Now I've put that blue to capture the tunic. Now, right, the tunic looks like it should be chainmail, but I'm deciding it's not. that the leggings are a different thing. One of the things about white, we hear on the side of the black knight of the black armor, right? We had a dark and a light, right? We had a reflection to kind of soften it up. On the white side, there's nothing whiter than white. You don't have a light side. You've only got a where you're going to add shadowy things. We're going to add a third. So I want this crown to seem silvery. So I'm giving it its own different blue. We now have three different blue grays on the shading. We talked about this earlier. To help give that feeling of, you know, color. It's not just a flat white. It's a thing that has a shade. Um, the white knight is missing the bottom of his foot. No, he's not. That so if I turn on uh, the lines here, you'll see the bottom of his foot is behind the is leaning up against the is blocked underneath the chessboard. That's what's going on there. He's not missing nothing. All right, but now I've got some other decisions to make. I don't want to make the number of um, colors I'm using too high. I often talk about how on the Thursday show, I'll often talk about how I do armor and I'll take three shades and use that. Mm, it's a little more going on here than in those quick drawings, but having more than three or four different shades here for what's supposed to all look like white armor would get a little too confusing. So I'll tell you what I am going to do. I'm going to take, this is a little weird. I'm not sure this is going to work out, but I'm going to go from the blue into this kind of yellow base off-white for the cloak. Just so it has a feeling of being a different uh, fabric, different kind of fabric. But it still looks white. Let's say they shot too high with Sigil, went for video game quality when most people don't have that powerful of a computer. Oh, I see what you're talking about. You know, I not having worked a lot in the computer field, I don't have a lot of. I have very fan-based opinions, or only related professional opinion, rather than an actual knowledgeable professional opinion. But yeah, it sure seems to me a lot of the time, it's not uncommon to see that. See a company want to use the, push the envelope to do what is capable, um, when the audience doesn't have the you can't assume that the audience will have the minimum requirements to do the thing. And every few years you find a new game or a new product that requires. I mean, you see that all the time with video cards or sound cards. That if you wanted to play the new game, it was time to upgrade your video card. And then for the next 5 years, everyone would be using that as the standard. And then someone would push the envelope. But what you didn't see, or you don't remember as clearly, are the companies that tried to do that, but their game was not popular enough, and so it died because it had the requirement, but people weren't willing to pay for it. I mean, it wasn't so good that people said, yeah, well, yeah, I can't play it without this thing, so I'm going to upgrade the thing, instead of I can't play it without this thing, so therefore I'm not playing it. Thing about this yellow is it's not. It needs to be a little darker, or we need some of it that's a little darker. Here we go. They're looking pretty good, these two fighters. What do I need? Oh, I need a slightly shade on the skin. Not as much as I usually do, because he's still mostly looking white, but there's and you see me like doing this kind of thing where I'm zooming in and zooming out. Part of that, and the big reason for that, is when you're in close, you're looking at an amount of detail, and you're making decisions. And you need to remember that when someone's looking at it, they're not going to be looking at it like this. They're going to be looking at it like that. So you've got to make sure that the choices you're making at this scale will serve the picture at that scale. And then, of course, we need to do the beard itself, which is a different thing too. We don't want that color here. Come down and top these off. Like here, I'm seeing that this color I used to to shade the back of the cloak there. When I zoom out, it's not standing out enough. I need that to be darker. I need to grab that color and make a slightly darker version of it. There we go. Now when I zoom out, it does stand out. Okay. Our two characters are looking pretty good. Want to put that shield, finish up the shield. And then I may call it an evening. I'm not sure, but it feels like we're getting down toward the end of this evening. And because it's metal, I can put in a little bit of white. Maybe a lighter blue to go even lighter. Go to give it that reflective look. I got a ton done tonight. Well, doesn't feel like a ton, but I definitely made an hour and a half's progress. Well, 9 o'clock. We're now at 2.5 hours, right? 6:30. Yeah, but I would say I did make a good 2 hours worth of work out of this. And if I turn back all the layers, turn back on all the layers, you can see that I've got to turn at least one of the shadow. So still have to get shading, background and shading underneath. Got to do shading on all of the chess pieces. And then I've got to deal with that skull guy in the background, which is going to be a challenge. But we have definitely made progress. I don't know if I'm going to have time to work on it. Usually, just to kind of uh, um, let you all in on my how I like to work, right? Usually, in for the first year of the show, I would do the sketch on the interview, and I had time during the week between to finish the drawing. I would finish the entire drawing. As I was saying earlier, Jeff asked me how long it takes. It's about 8 to 12 hours total to do this. So I would do the hour and a half to 2 hours of work while doing the interview, and then over the rest of the week, I had the remaining 6 to 10 hours to finish it. This year has not been like that, and so that's how I fell behind. Um, Recently, with the work in progress, I've taken the 2 or 3 hours to add on to the original two, taking me up to 5 or 6, and I had the other 5 to 7 hours to finish it. But this fall, that hasn't always been the case either. So we wind up having these double uh, um, shows. So far on this particular piece, the one that we've been working on today, I had the original sketch. Let's call it hour and a half to 2 hours. Hour and a half, 2 hours. And then I had last week, which was another 2 hours, and I had this week, which is another two, each 2.5. So hour and a half, 2.5, 2.5. We're at somewhere around 6.5 to 7 hours, which means there are still something like um, 4 to 7 hours of work left on this. 4 or 5 hours, I think, conservatively. 4 or 5 hours of work left on this. Probably more like 5 to 7 hours of work left on this. The question is, am I going to find 5 to 7 hours between now and next week to finish this up so that I can do something else next week? I think next week is also going to be a work in progress show. So maybe it'll be a work in progress on a new piece or on a different piece. Maybe I'll be coming back here to work on this one again. I don't know. I don't know. Life a little complicated sometimes. Um, Bring on the floating skull. Bring on the floating skull. Yeah. So we've got about 6 to 7 hours of work in on this so far, and gotten it to this shape, which is pretty good, from what we started with. And now got to bring it home. Got to bring it home. Anyway, if you want to see, I will make a post. Like I've been making a post. If you are a subscriber to our free newsletter, 50 Years in the Dungeon.substack.com, I make posts showing you the, so you don't have to just watch it on the video. You'll get in your email a post that has the piece in its current state, so you can look at it and kind of anytime you want, have it around. And you're the first people to see the finished piece when it's done. I put it out to the newsletter a good week or more before I release it to the rest of the world. So if you want to see this, maybe you want to look at what we've done here and look at it a little closer. Zoom in on your own. Do whatever you want. Subscribe here. Free subscription to 50yearsinthedungeon.substack.com. And you'll then also be the first people to see the finished piece when it's done. And true for all the other stuff. And if you join up at Substack, you can go back and look at all the previous pieces. So you get to see. I haven't always posted sketches. That's something I started this year. I never really thought of, because I was finishing the work within a week. It didn't seem necessary. Now that it's taking longer to finish an individual piece, I'm taking care to show my appreciation for the people that do subscribe. Those who are paid subscribers, even more so. So I make sure that there's something to share with you besides what's happening on the live stream. So yeah, check it out. Tell people about it. Here's the other thing I don't say enough of. Please, you folks are my evangelizers. This show has been going on for 2.5 years. No, the show's been going on for close to 2 years now. And I'll be honest, not quite as many viewers as I would have thought. In fact, the thing I hear most often is, how did I not know about this? And, there's a part that I have to do in doing a good show. There's a part that I have to do about posting about and promoting a good show. But there's a part, I'm not going to say it's your job, but there's a part that relies on the people that enjoy it sharing it with other people, letting them know, spreading the word. So I am going to encourage you. Tell your friends, if you know people who like this kind of thing, to check out the Substack. Maybe they don't have time to sit for 3 hours like you and I do to spend this time watching it. That's all right. But if they subscribe to the Substack, they get to see all the stuff, and maybe they will enjoy that. Yeah, I mean, certainly you know people who would enjoy this who maybe don't know about it. Tell them about it. In the meanwhile, other things like liking, giving a thumbs up, become a subscriber. Now I'm going to focus on YouTube here. Right? Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Tell folks about the YouTube channel. Share the videos or clips of the videos. I know that YouTube, you can create your own clips. Show them clips, short clips of me working, or Jeff saying something interesting, or whatever. And share information about the newsletter. Hit the like button. Like each individual video when it's done. Leave a comment in the comments after we're done. I know you've been talking here with me, and I appreciate it. I love it. I really do. But the algorithm loves it when you comment afterward. The algorithm loves that. So, here we go. I will be back tomorrow night with another episode of Random Encounters, the improv cartooning show. So please, if you've got the capability, come back, say hi, join the chat, help figure out what it is I'll be drawing, and then it won't be 3 hours on the same piece. We do 3 drawings each night. So come on and see some quick creativity in action. Till then, thank you to my guest Jeff Quick again. Always fun hanging out with him, and and you know what? He asks some good questions. He'd be a good host for a show like this. That's all I'm saying. Until then, thank you very much. Take care.